Welcome back, Guardian. Thanks for tuning in. So if you were part of the live stream yesterday, you saw where I did the traction test to make sure the +1 hidden tier was still active in Season of Dawn. Since the class ability recharge is affected by the mobility value on a hunter, I thought maybe Bungie may have secretly patched it, and that's what this video is about. It's just live in-game, so you can see it for yourself. However, you'll need to get a stopwatch because I don't have a way to put it on screen with the editor that I use. But you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you next time.
In space.
Welcome back, dudes. So Dawn DLC is out and we're going to do some traction testing. I did this in the live stream when it launched, but I figured I would go ahead and make another version of it. I'm going to try to figure out a way to put a stopwatch on the screen, but I honestly don't have any idea how I'm going to do that, but I'll try to do it in post-edit if I can. But if you want to test this yourself, you might want to get your own stopwatch and, you know, just do it with me if you want to. But let me get my stopwatch real fast, because what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how the traction still gives you the hidden tier, and then I'm going to show you how it actually will give you the tier higher in the recharge of your class ability. So let's get into this. So right now we're at a 6 mobility, and then we have traction on, and that's going to be 7 mobility basically. So we're going to do the jump and see where our sword goes. So we can see the sword is like right at the line that goes across where that screw is. So we can see that that's 6 plus traction. So with this test, what we're going to do now is we're going to take the traction off, but then go back to 6 mobility and see that the jump height's actually lowered. So let me take that off. So we're at 5 right now. Let me bump it back up to 6 somehow. Give me a second. Nope. Alright, so now we're at 6 still, and then we just have hive repurposing on, so 6, so no traction, and then you see the sword is like under that line now, so it doesn't go to the line. A second ago it was a little bit edit and a little tiny bit above it, so now it's not reaching it, so we're actually at a true 6 mobility now with no traction. And then if we add traction back on, we're going to see that we go a little higher now. Let me get this super thing off the screen, and we'll see what we're back at 7 mobility, and the tip of the sword's going above the line now. So our movement speed is going to be 7 mobility, our jump height, all that stuff. So now what we're going to do is do the dodge test. So right here it's going to show that tier 7 actually has a 16-second dodge. And right now it shows we're supposed to actually be at an 18-second dodge. So the way that Bungie does their timer is right as my feet hit the ground after the dodge is when the cooldown begins. So let me do 1 dodge, and then we're going to do it on the 2nd dodge. Actually, I need to take off the 6 coyote. Well, now we're at 7, so we'll actually have an 8 mobility charge. So it would be 13 seconds at 8 mobility, 7 plus the traction. So we'll test that one out actually. See, watch this. So as soon as I hit the circle twice and then my feet hit the ground, that's when Bungie starts their timer. Not exactly when I hit the 2nd circle to do the dodge. That's PlayStation 4. So I'm going to do the dodge in 3, 2, 1, tap tap. Timer starts right now. And you'll see that it's going to come back at 13 seconds as opposed to 16 seconds because I'm at 7 plus traction, which is actually 8 mobility. So I'm getting 8 mobility charge times. You'll see in 13 seconds it comes back. If you have your stopwatch going on, you can rewind it back, and then you'll see when my feet hit the ground, you can start your timer, and you'll see that it comes back at 13 seconds. And that's 7 plus traction. So instead of 16, if I take traction off and was still at 7, then we would actually get that 16-second timer. So now what we're going to do is take traction off. We're going to drop down to a 6 mobility, and that's actually going to give us an 18-second timer because we don't have traction on. So I'm going to do the dodge. Dodge. Timer starts right now. And we'll see when the dodge comes back. It's going to be at the 18 seconds. But if I put traction back on and go to 6 mobility, it's going to be at the 7. So I like to do this live in game instead of, you know, doing edits and stuff, because a lot of people just, I don't know why, you can just show them right to their face and they still won't accept it for some reason. I don't get it. It's just the way some people are. So now let me drop my mobility a tiny bit, not much, if I can't help it. All right, cool. Now I'm gonna put traction back on. Boom. And then we're gonna be still at 6 mobility with traction, but we're actually gonna get our dodge back at 16 seconds instead of 18 seconds. So I'm gonna do the dodge. 3, 2, 1, dodge, dodge, start timer. And then we're gonna see it come back at the 16-second mark. Actually, it's 16.199 seconds, to be honest, but Bungie rounds it. And there it is. Bam. 16 seconds. Instead of 18. So like I said, you can do this timer too. If you want to watch this video over and over again, get your stopwatch, watch the timer. And then if you ever just want to come here when you're like at the moon, if you just want to test this yourself, I mean, all you got to do is just like put 6 in traction on, and then put 6 without traction, and you'll watch your jump heights be differently. So you can see this, the tip of the sword right now where it's going. A tiny bit is going above that line. We're at 7 mobility because of 6 in traction, and then we take the traction off. And this works with everything. So but if you're at 10 mobility already and put traction on, it's not going to give you anything but tighter turn radius. So it's not going to work that way. So 9 plus traction is what you want to do, and that'll give you the 10 mobility class ability regen, and then give you 10 mobility jump height and strafe speed. So right now we're going to see the sword. It was going above the line a second ago, and now you'll see that it doesn't reach the line because it's a true 6 without traction. So traction will show that it gives you increased mobility when you read it. Right here, I was reading a comment of some people talking about it, about some communication or whatever. Most people, know that it gives increased mobility, but people just think that it's because of that +5 that it gives you on like your meter or whatever, but they don't really understand that it actually gives you an extra 10 that you do not see. So instead of it going up just +5, it's going up +15. So, I mean, like I said, you can test this all yourself. It's an easy test to do. It's not hard at all. So if you don't believe it and you want some more convincing, then feel free to come in here and you can find it out for yourself. So that's cool though, because I was worried that Dawn, since the class ability regen was being affected by mobility values, I had a feeling that Bungie was going to secretly patch all this stuff. But thank God they did it, man. I have a feeling that they don't even know how to fix it, and that's why they don't mess with it. I don't know, because it's been like that since traction has existed. It's always given you that extra tier. But back before Dawn, when it was like in Forsaken, it used to give you a hidden tier that showed on the stat meter, or it showed you a hidden tier on the stat meter, or it didn't show it to you. It showed you the one on the stat meter, but then it gave you an extra tier, so it was actually a +2. But it's kind of the same. I mean, a lot of people are saying that 1.0 traction was better than 2.0 traction, but it's actually exactly the same. Like, if you pretended that discipline and strength didn't exist, and it was just mobility and recovery and stuff like what it used to be, the builds all still have the same stat values. So it doesn't matter that it shows that traction only does a +5. It still all balances the same as it did before Shadowkeep, when it was just 1.0 armor. The stat values and builds are still exactly the same, except the only difference in 2.0 is now you can add things like reserves on your chest piece and scavengers on your legs and stuff like that. All that didn't exist basically. But as far as your builds and what's possible for your mobility and recovery and all your recharges and stuff, and how you can maximize all that stuff, it's exactly the same. It's just in a different format now basically. So traction doesn't show how it used to because it's a whole new format of how you read it, but as far as what it gives you, it's no different than what it was as far as how high you can get your mobility and recovery with different exotics. It's kind of the same. Maybe I'm not explaining that well, but it all is exactly the same. I can make the same exact builds that I had before Shadowkeep, except the only difference is I can add the reserves and scavengers now, but as far as what my mobility and recovery reads, I'm still building the same amount of stats as I used to. So that actually didn't change at all. But anyways, hopefully that makes sense. I know that kind of is probably confusing, especially if you're new to Destiny or whatever, but if you've been building for a while, you probably understand what I'm talking about. But anyways, man, y'all take it easy. Just add a +1 to your mobility value when you're wearing traction, And then always know that you're getting the ability regen on your hunter a tier higher than what the mobility is actually saying. So if you're on a plus, you know, if you're on a 6+ traction, you're getting a 16-second cooldown. If you're at a 9+ traction, you're getting a 10 mobility cooldown. So y'all take it easy, bros. I'll see y'all next time in space.